Have you ever come across a story that's so old it feels like an echo from another world? Well, that's what we're diving into today. It's this mysterious old tale from Denmark about a sunken bell. And trust me, what sounds like a simple fairy tale is actually this incredibly deep look at memory, truth, and all the secrets we think no one ever sees. So just imagine for a second. You're standing by a river, the Odense-Au, and you hear that. A faint, kind of ghostly ringing coming from the deepest part of the water. Where in the world is that coming from? And maybe more importantly, what story is it trying to tell us? Because this isn't just a random sound, it's a story just waiting to be heard. So this mysterious spot in the river, it's actually got a name, the Bell Deep. The legend says it's home to this ancient water spirit. But, he wasn't always alone down there. His only company is something that fell out of the sky centuries ago, something that carries the weight of history in its very being. Okay, so who is this spirit? He's called the Au-mann. And get this description. He wears eel skin for pants, a jacket made of scales buttoned up with yellow water lilies, and his beard is all tangled up with seaweed. For ages and ages, he just lived down there by himself, until he got a very, very talkative new neighbor. The way this story describes the bell's fall is just fascinating. It wasn't some tragic accident. It was almost like a choice. One evening, it's ringing away, shining in the sunset, and suddenly its beam just breaks. As it flies through the air, the story says it sang out, "Now I'll retire to rest," before plunging right into the river, creating the very bell deep where it now sits. But here's the thing. It didn't really find rest. It found an audience. So once it's at the bottom of the river, the bell starts to talk. It tells the Au-mann everything it saw from its perch way up high in the St. Alban's church tower. And it starts with the small, hidden secrets of the people down below. And so, year after year, it tells its stories. It whispers about the old times, the dark times, and just countless human moments. Some beautiful, some pretty cruel, that all happened right under its watch. And it begins its tale with two men, alone in that tower, each with a very different secret in his heart. So the bell saw two completely different kinds of secrets. On one hand, you have a young monk, filled with this forbidden but really tender love for a nun he could see from the tower. His secret was one of passion. But then, on the flip side, you have the bishop's servant, who used the bell's loud ringing to hide a song of pure cruelty. A song about a woman being eaten alive by rats. His secret was one of pure malice. And the bell? It saw all of it. But the bell saw way more than just personal secrets. Its biggest, most powerful story is one of public betrayal and violence, a moment that totally changed the course of history for the whole kingdom. The bell didn't just see this. It heard it, it felt it, and it was ringing right through the middle of it all. King Canute tried to find sanctuary in the very church where the bell was hanging, but his own servant, this treacherous guy named Blake, betrayed him. The bell watched as an angry mob, now knowing exactly where the king was, threw a stone through the window, killing him right there, in front of the altar. And the whole time, the bell was ringing, right along with the screams of the mob and the cries of the birds outside. But here's where it gets interesting. The bell insists it wasn't the only one who saw what happened. It says it understood the language of the crows and ravens that were shrieking in terror. It listened to the wind, which knows everything because it roars through every crack and window. And the wind, the bell says, gets its knowledge from the air itself, the air that surrounds everything and everyone. And that's why it fell. The story says the bell became so heavy with all the secrets, all the betrayals, and all the violence it had witnessed, that its beam just couldn't hold it anymore. It wasn't metal fatigue, it was memory fatigue. The sheer weight of history is what brought it down. So this brings us from this kind of magical tale to its deeper meaning. The story gives us two totally different ways to explain that ringing sound from the river, one from folklore and one from, well, logic. And yet, somehow, they both land at the exact same startling conclusion. Okay, so on one side, you have the grandmother's version, the literal magical story of a talking bell and a water spirit. And on the other, you've got the schoolmaster's scientific take. There's no bell, it's just the air vibrating and creating sound. It feels like a total contradiction, right? One is magic, the other is physics. But you gotta look closer. Because whether you believe the bell is literally telling the wind its stories, or you believe the sound is just the air making noise, both explanations totally depend on the same idea.
The air is the ultimate keeper of records. It is the witness to absolutely everything.
Yeah, the story basically concludes that the air, the very medium we move through and breathe every single day, holds an imprint of everything we do and even everything we think. It's a record that's going to outlast any metal bell or stone church, ringing out our history into the vault of heaven forever and ever. So you see, the story of the Bell Deep isn't just about a bell. It's a mirror. It's asking us to think about how nothing is ever really lost or hidden. Not the monk's secret love, the servant's cruelty, or the king's betrayal. It all leaves a trace. So the final question isn't whether there's a bell ringing in a river somewhere. It's what permanent echo are your actions leaving on the world?